Welcome to 155. I'm your host, Sam Sutherland.
You should have done like Sammy Struggle.
Sammy Snot.
And I'm Josiah Hughes. And today I'm the normal one now. And today we're talking about the Sex Pistols' Anarchy in the UK punk song. Because the podcast is about that.
Yeah, all right.
First, we got to shout out. We did not talk about them nearly enough. Split Hairs, the band that
we don't talk about them enough. It's a fucking fact about this show.
The fact is, it's the best show on earth.
There are two facts about this show.
You've heard of the best show? Well, this is it, and we're suing them for the name. So that's one thing.
When you hear people talk about the best show, they actually are talking about this. We have a devoted cult following.
And Sam's nickname is Tom Sharpling, I think.
It's complicated.
It gets confusing.
You gotta listen back.
I used to complain that show was too long to get into, and now I'm part of the problem, I guess. But anyways, Split Hairs every single week has made us a brand new theme song since our very existence. And we are coming up in November on 1 year of this show. That's 1 year of new theme songs every single week. Can you believe it? I can't.
I cannot, if nothing else about this show was good, and we could debate that, those themes every week, and you and I literally listen to it right before we start to, get hype. Mm-hmm. They are so sick, and then we talk about how it's sick, and then we start the show, we do not acknowledge Split Hairs enough. So, what a fucking commitment. And it's not just that it's a good idea, but every one of them has been fucking sick. Split Hairs rule.
They're so good. Shout out to Split Hairs. We're going to do a comp of once they hit 55 theme songs, we're going to do a comp. One comp of 55.
One comp of 55 songs.
You get it? Let's give everyone a second to get the joke. All right, cool. Sex Pistols, Anarchy in the UK.
Yes.
So for the month of September, we thought it'd be funny to do a back-to-school thing. And then we've talked a lot before on the pod about certain bands being homework bands that feel like a chore to listen to. And so then people are now... Basically, us choosing this song has made everyone fight about everything in Discord. So if you want to go to patreon.com/155pod, you can enlist to fight in the great culture wars of 155 that are happening right now.
It's a Cold War, for sure. Things are heated.
Is that
heated in the cold? Yeah, I don't know. Listen, please keep going.
The first thing I'll say is I agree that this is not really homework music, but at the same time, it's kind of more like foundational things that we just need to talk about. We talked about Avril Lavigne in the second week or whatever, and Nine Inch Nails. We got to talk about some capital P punk.
Well, to me, it's homework because when you're young and you get into blank, inevitably you hang out with a family friend or someone older who's if you're into punk, you have to, you got to listen to Fugazi. You and I've talked about this as the way that if you're into this, you got to listen to this. And if you like the Ataris, you should definitely check out the Sex Pistols. And you're in grade 9 and these things don't sound alike. The kind of punk that you get into when you are at least our age and in high school tends to sound nothing like the foundational punk bands that you are then very quickly expected to have a degree of familiarity with, lest you be a pose dog. And so it's not that the Sex Pistols have an especially dense and difficult catalog, but they are prescribed. You are given,
yeah, that's true. That's
the task of listening to them like it's homework, inevitably by someone who is older than you.
That's
true.
So
in that sense, I don't think homework is having to do trig. It's just the stuff you got to do outside of the classroom. Yeah, exactly.
Well, I want to talk more about that in a second, but the other thing that's happening is somebody, I don't want to start naming usernames in here, but someone in the Discord, because last week we talked about Propaganda, which is definitely homework. I mean, it's basically some sort of rhyme schematic to learn the alphabet, except it's to learn I don't know, some kind of theory about something. It's very complicated homework about politics, I think. Anyway, someone in the Discord, when we announced we were doing this, someone was like, Propaganda? Sick. Sex Pistols? Dog shit. And then now it's just been, the whole Discord has been ablaze. This is why you can't compare bands to each other. I think people...
It's just so many people taking the bait from other people. That's what I don't understand.
And also, it's taking the bait from the Sex Pistols themselves, who exist in order to be bait, I think.
The master baiters in many ways.
Exactly. Whoa, I just realized what their name could be a reference to.
Oh, I'm also sorry. I'm obsessed with. So normally we announce the song via our weekly newsletter. We didn't do one last week, and so for the second time in the history of this pod, I announced the song title via an emoji riddle, very difficult emoji riddle on Discord, which of course is how people then are able to kind of cover the songs. We'll get to those later in the episode, but my emoji for Sex Pistols was. I think just sort of like the sort of squirting, the jizz, like the coming emoji. I guess not jizz, it's the cum emoji, and then the gun. And so someone, and again, I came without outing usernames, but also I can't remember this far back because it was like 2 days ago. Was like, okay, I get that it's Anarchy in the UK because like the rest of it was, I guess, fairly obvious from an emoji standpoint. But they're like, but what does like sweat, cum, gun have to do with that? And someone had to inform them that even just in saying it, they had basically said the Sex Pistols. But I am truly obsessed with the idea of just thinking of this band as the sweat, cum, gun band.
I love the idea that the sweat, the drops emoji somehow represented sweat and cum in your little emoji cryptogram.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you got to work for it. One
the other thing is, so our schedule is all fucked up this week. I'm going away next week, and we're not doing the newsletter probably for the next couple weeks. For the record, if you're casual listeners checking in, I got to pay tribute to my homie on here. Rest in peace, Woody, my cat. He passed away last week.
Oh yes,
love you, Woody.
Yes.
Gonna miss you. Been on the pod many times. But anyways, so we've already announced what band we're doing next week, and we let people vote on what we couldn't decide what song to do. So I guess it doesn't matter. It's too late for you to cover it if you're listening, but we're doing The Clash next week. I don't know what song yet because they're currently also fighting about that. We're gatekeepers being thrown around. I mean, we're all gatekeepers in the Discord. That's the whole. Anyways, this is just.
I was worried someone's going to drive to someone else's house. Like we've had sort of mild disagreements in the Discord before, but it is too spicy. We're going to have to put the Discord on slow mode.
It's because of it's because we're talking about some true punk this week, and I gotta.
That's what it is. People are being punk.
So I kind of get the impression from your description that the Sex Pistols did feel like homework to you.
Well, I want to know what your journey was with this band and this song. I mean, I don't know how many Sex Pistols episodes we will do, so I don't necessarily want to treat this as a generic Sex Pistols episode, but this was a band that I knew I was supposed to listen to. And then I did, and I think I pretended to like it for a long time because I thought I was supposed to. And then once I had more fully developed a sense of what kind of punk I wanted to be, I decidedly rejected it and decided that I thought that they were shitty because I was really into the Clash, and the Clash stood for something, and the Sex Pistols stood for nothing, and they were this joke manufactured band, and they were fucking bullshit, and the stuff that I was into meant more and stood for something. And then as I eventually stopped standing for anything and myself became a bit of a joke man, I came to the realization that the Sex Pistols fucking rule, that this album is amazing, and sure, John Lydon, I don't even know that John Lydon sucks now because I actually even think that the shit that he does today is kind of still trolling, and if it's not, I don't know that I care.
He's so old. He's just so fucking old.
What do you want from him?
And he kind of looks like a Zippy the Pinhead character. That if you're
he looks fucking awesome.
Comics. Yeah,
and at some point I started really because I had such a superficial understanding of Reed of the band, but particularly him. And then when you sort of really get into public image and you're like, John Lennon fucking rules again, even though he doesn't rule. And I know people have complicated feelings, but not here to debate his MAGA hat. And I truly came back into thinking that the Sex Pistols are genius art in addition to being a great fucking pop band and a great punk band. So for me, it felt like homework, and it took me a long time to get over that and sort of see past my own face and understand what it is that I loved about the Sex Pistols. What about you?
So for me, it literally is homework for real. I'm trying to think of that exact timeline. I feel like it was before I had heard MXPX, but maybe not. But I remember my dad rented this VHS from the library that was like a multi-part documentary about punk. And I think it was from the BBC or something. It was British anyways. And I know Bono was in it a whole bunch because Bono was like for a while kind of the Ian MacKaye of his era, or the Dave Grohl of his era. Like he was the go-to documentary interview talking head. And I remember he was in it a bunch, and like I already knew U2 songs because my dad was always listening to U2 at home, and he was like, "I think you're gonna love this documentary. Let's sit down and watch it together." And it blew my mind. Like I fucking loved it, and I loved just kind of I don't know. I think I did get into like punk honestly through this VHS from the library, and to me it connected with like my family used to watch the old Michael Moore TV show TV Nation every week, and I think it was just like I was like so young but raised on The Simpsons and on like Michael Moore TV show and stuff, and like I feel like it was just kind of this subversive thing that I just thought was so funny and clever. I also like loving Mad Magazine so much. Like my dad showed me all this cool subversive stuff when I was so much younger, which like probably was a big mistake on his part because I loved it too much. But yeah, and then from there I think he bought me like a book that was called like Punk or something, and it was just like a whole bunch of large print photographs of different punk bands like the Buzzcocks and the Sex Pistols, and then like Rancid was in it and stuff. And I never went too deep with it, but I do remember I think I got a hoodie with the Nevermind the Bollocks logo printed on it at Bang On Granville Street, which was like one of those stores where they did like the iron-on transfers of whatever. Like I feel like those stores still exist, but they just do like stag parties now. But you used to be able to get like bootleg merch of whatever you wanted. And I think I had like a hoodie or a T-shirt with the Sex Pistols logo on it. But anyways, like I listened to it a lot when I was really young, and I loved it. And then I kind of just became too cool for it. I didn't like reject it because of some political standpoint or whatever. And then I just like years later revisited it again, and sure enough, it sounded so sick. Like the thing about this whole album is that it has so much swagger. Like it's just like it sounds.
Yeah, totally.
Listening to this album makes me understand why people love the Rolling Stones so much, because I've never really gotten into them too much. But there is like it's music that makes you just want to like strut around, basically. So
that's actually a really good point, because I feel like I didn't get the Stones like for the longest time. Then I finally actually like listened to Exile on Main Street, and you're like, oh shit, I feel fucking cool listening to this.
Yeah,
and this has the same like very English swagger as like the sort of best, most like, and I think it comes from the same like there's this like lackadaisical approach to it that you could just hear. It just feels like the whole thing is kind of shambolic.
Yeah, exactly. And like I think that honestly, Anarchy in the UK and God Save the Queen are two of the weakest songs on the album.
Really, yeah.
Because it's like, it is a sick album. And I don't know, like, I don't really think it's interesting or even valuable to talk about a band being good because they were important or because of they paved the way or the history or whatever. Like, I don't really think that's interesting. But I do think what I want to push back on a little bit is this idea that, like, I mean, to put it in shorthand, to say that Propaganda is better than the Sex Pistols because their politics are all like every T is crossed or whatever, I think that's like a very artless look at creation or music or whatever. Like the Sex Pistols are trying to do something very different, and they're doing it very well, and it's incredibly stupid but a lot of fun. And I also bet you that some people did get into like revolutionary politics from this. But I think last week we were talking about like the limits of music in terms of delivering a message, and like I don't know if it matters if the message is perfectly teed up or not for it to push someone in the right direction. Like I just don't think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think that music is not really enough as a whole package to change the world essentially. So I don't know, it's kind of an interesting tension between, do you listen to something because everything they're saying is correct and you agree with it all, or do you listen to it because it's like fucking swaggy as hell, like Nevermind the Bollocks?
I love the false equivalency between Propaganda and the Sex Pistols that we're only talking about because like people are murdering each other in our pod Discord over it. But no, I mean, I said this in the Propaganda episode. To me, Propaganda having like very sick politics is like a real bonus to the fact that I just like listening to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I especially like the idea, we've talked so much about the art and the artist and the death of the author in our many sort of successive generations of podcasts that we've been a part of now. But like, I don't know how you could care, like true, like, because I just can't believe that people listen to music like in headphones. It's like incredibly intimate, like inherently emotional experience that people have had for generations of like hearing music and like music being like this thing that it conjures emotion without words. Like you do not need to be able to speak the language. And that I like literally don't believe people who only experience that in a contextual way. I think they're full of fucking shit.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a movie where there are like so you have 2 hours or whatever, like of sort of experiencing a work of art that often crosses like in many ways different mediums where you're like, okay, there's like a message that's being conveyed by, the framing of these images, but there's also a message that's being conveyed by the sound and the music, and there's a bubble and the literal things that people are saying. And from that, you can kind of ascertain like the politics of a film or the perspective of a film in such a way that it might resonate or not resonate with you, and inevitably is, if you believe in the auteur theory, an expression of an individual's point of view and personal beliefs, right? That's just not fucking true listening to the Sex Pistols. Like listening to the Sex Pistols or any band, you are most likely, unless you're listening to like a one-man black metal neo-Nazi band, like hypothetically, the expression of like what happens when four people do a thing together. And it like more than anything elicits an emotional response that is exaggerated or played off of or against by lyrics that you may or may not personally relate to. But I just think like, the first thing that happened when I think somebody sort of solved the complicated emoji riddle of the song was they like looked up the lyrics and they're like, I don't really understand. I don't think these lyrics are really about anarchy. And it's like, no, they're fucking not. Like, I don't think the Sex Pistols had a really coherent vision of, the desired sort of politics of their homeland. I think this was just a dumb, funny fucking song.
But also, if you look at it as like a piece of pop art, what's interesting about this song in particular and this album and this band is that like basically everyone says the Sex Pistols are posers because they were formed as a punk band just to like sell fashion or whatever, which is like obviously true and obviously what still has happened 100% of the way because it's all just consumption. No matter how you look at this kind like pop culture and music and merch and everything, it's all consumption. But for the Sex Pistols to be like kind of considered by many people the first or one of the first punk bands, for them to instantly come out and everything about them is an Ouroboros of irony and everything is a contradiction and doesn't work. And even while I was like researching to find the album art to reference it, I was finding like, so much just terrible officially licensed Sex Pistols merch. But even back then they're fighting with major labels, fighting about EMI and all that stuff. Like, I think of it as being a perfect Ouroboros of punk eating itself, which is something that they all say in interviews and everyone says it. But then I imagine the Ouroboros being like a wheel. It's like they invented the wheel and the Ouroboros of the snake eating itself is just propelling itself forward and creating this bizarre, confusing disaster that is punk and culture to the point of while I'm listening to this song today, getting ready for the episode, I'm seeing Travis Barker and Kourtney Kardashian on vacation in Italy, and he's wearing a Crass t-shirt, and Kourtney Kardashian is wearing the Bay Area band Death merch, and it's just kind of like, it's perfect. Like, I just think it's all perfect. Everything is a perfectly contained universe of irony and confusion and provocation that, like, it marries low and high so perfectly that, to me, it's just, I don't know. In terms of context, I think looking at it more in terms of aesthetics and art is very interesting, and every step of the way is hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that was the thing that when you sort of come to that realization a little bit, like just the contradictions, like I think it grates because if you come to punk through this sort of like yearning for authenticity, you know, that realizing that potentially, you know, the well has been poisoned since the beginning. You know, the idea that really, like, if this is one of the foundational bands and this is basically like a Linkin Park scenario, to call back to our recent mailbag, like it's just a put together sort of like, you know, Backstreet Boys, like Lou Pearlman is basically there, sort of like assembling these pieces in order, like literally to sell T-shirts. Where you're like, that fucking sucks, and then you realize that, like, wait, is my entire existence also predicated on a lie? And then you dismiss that because you're like, no, because I like the Clash, or
right,
and I like Minor Threat, and it's like, no, the whole point is like all of this is fucking bullshit. And I think that like this sort of
because also, to stop you for a second, how easy is it to perform earnestness? That's also the entire story of our time online with social media. Performing earnestness is almost easier than doing what the Sex Pistols are doing.
Yeah, completely. And I always come back to I think like the thing that sort of started my like, damn, I'm not getting the, like, I think I get the joke. Like, I think I've seen past the curtain, but I'm actually just seeing like the first curtain. Was reading the John Savage book, England's Dreaming, and I think that was the first time I had read about, like, you know, the U.S. tour and then the final show in San Francisco, and the idea that like the last thing that Johnny Rotten says on stage is ever get the feeling you've been cheated. And I'm just like, that's the fucking coolest thing. Like, one of those things where like I can't believe that a person thought to fucking say something in a scenario. Like, it's so rare that a real person gets off like a perfect movie line, but at the end of this whole dumb fucking charade, to just be like, fuck you to everyone who is there in a way that didn't actually fully like tip the cap or like break kayfabe or whatever term I'm not supposed to use because I'm not into wrestling, and so it's like appropriation. But I just think that that's like one of these like all-time brilliant like cultural moments of just like the veil coming off,
right?
Or, you know, like and the idea that like, oh shit, there was so much more happening there than I knew. Or that I, again, like, you think you're seeing it all, but you're actually only seeing as much as you're supposed to.
Which I also think is amazing because it's probably also not really entirely truthful. Like, I'm sure they still were a band that was trying to make it and like, part of it is still they're performing that too. That it's all like, it's just one of those things where you can never actually know where the seriousness starts or ends and what's a joke and what isn't. And that's kind of like this beautiful, like, you could just chase it forever. You'll never crack the code. And that, because the other thing is, while I said that all the other songs on this album are probably better than this one, I still think this is, and people in Discord were mocking it and stuff, I still think it's a pretty sick fucking song. Like,
no, it is. It's not like it's bad.
Like, first of all,
it's just not as good as Bodies. What's your favorite Sex Pistols song, by the way?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Holiday in the Sun. Is that the one with the fuck, when he says fuck so many times? Where when I first heard that as a boy, I was like, oh my goodness, that's not allowed.
I'm just a boy. There's an awful lot of fucks.
But I think like this song is so slow and plodding. I feel like I kind of feel like it's almost a hardcore song in a way, because it's just like, it sounds like a breakdown the whole time. It's so slow and plodding. I love that it's just like one note within the two stupid other note. Like, everything about it is so stupid and ignorant in such a good way that, and then I actually think John Lydon's the only person who can like sneer like this and get away with it musically. Like, it sounds good. And I think Jello Biafra sounds like shit almost always. So I don't know. That's the only other person I think with a similar kind of voice.
Yeah, the full sneer, because I don't really like any bands that do like an audible sneer. And it is just like he just has like a great voice. Like, it's just like an enchanting combination of accent and like melodic sensibility that like he slides in and out of. It's so fucking good.
Let's watch them in their famous 1976 performance of the song on TV on Tony Wilson. I mean, this makes me feel like we're doing some real punk archivist bullshit, but
for believers and non-believers alike. So here with a rerun of their first ever appearance on British television on this program 15 months ago.
Even this guy was.
It's a little piece of history, and
even this guy was already
Anarchy in the studio
doing history
of gets drowned out. Sex Pistols, you can hear them warming up in the background even now.
It sounds so good.
I also think that no one should be allowed to ever dress like this again.
I mean, it all is so fashionable now.
Yeah.
But I like fashion. I think it's cool.
Tom Lydon is fucking cool looking, eh?
Yeah, he really is. Like, and also rhyming Antichrist with Anarchist is so stupid that it's just genius. It's so good.
See, it's funny. You're right, though, because I feel like there's a period of time, and I do think it was like maybe when we were getting into punk, where like everyone who dressed like this, like I think were the people. Maybe I'm wrong here, but it was like people who took the Sex Pistols really literally. And if you were just like into like drunk punk stuff, you looked like this, and I hated it. And also like obviously
I feel like everyone dressed everyone dressed like this. They're not. There's no. I don't think there's any swastikas in this video. I intentionally didn't play. Or does he have them there?
I mean, no, because this is still Glenn Malick era, right? But no, there's I don't know who it is at the side of the stage. Is it Vivian Westwood? But there's someone in like full Nazi regalia at the side of the stage.
Right. But I feel like people dressed like this, but then made like music that sounded like the Exploding Hearts when we were kids. Like it wasn't like. I don't think no one's ever come out and made music that's
inspiration. Yeah,
no one's ever like started a band that sounds like the Sex Pistols. I think that would be so funny if they did, though. They should do an all-female reboot of the Sex Pistols and make it actually sound like this. Like, it really does sound very classic rock. Like, it sounds like stupid classic rock. Ultimately. And also this riff of this guitar solo. Same notes as I Will Not Be Shaken lead, the great worship song from my youth. So that's kind of an interesting
you obviously,
connection.
There's a deeper connection there.
I mean, I don't want to do a full history of it. I don't really want to break down the lyrics because I don't think they make any sense. And I don't think we don't know enough about it. But I do kind of instead want to just do kind of my journey with it that I had today, which is mostly just like Sex Pistols YouTubers, which I think is really fun.
Oh, okay, yeah. Because we were talking about this, I was like, okay, who's prepping this episode? And you're like, I'm doing it, but it's very Josiah.
Yeah, like there's a whole bunch of YouTube shit that I found, and then there's a whole bunch of like famous covers of it that I want to get through really quick before we get through our family's covers. But first, this is gem reactions. There's so many. I gotta say something else too that I've noticed on YouTube is that people who do YouTube reaction videos are almost always not white people, and they're almost always listening to white rock music, and they're almost always incredibly open-minded and generous about the music, and it's actually so charming, and it makes me think of how, again, shitty everyone was about rap music when like in our age, at least when we were younger. And, everyone was just like so ignorant about rap music all the time.
Not me. I was always.
Anyways, this is JEM Reacts. This is 9 minutes long. It shows her listening to the whole thing first, and then she does a breakdown.
Hey guys, it's Endeavor. Welcome back to another video. I'm excited for this one because
she's
it's
very
almost
toothy
like
when she talks.
Sequel to my Ramones punk rock video. I kind of liked that, and I thought I had to get the whole punk rock feel. And so today
she's doing homework.
To Anarchy in the UK by the Sex Pistols, and apparently this is supposed to be British punk rock, which to me just sounds really funny and interesting because I think of British people as like really nice and like cute accents and just tea time. Is that mean?
True.
Like it's fine. That's just like the stereotypical. And so seeing this image to start off. I'm really interested to see what it is. So yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
I don't know. I mean, this is 9 minutes long, but you can
Get stage presence, and I can only imagine the crowd in this. I mean, they were throwing stuff on the stage, like they were kicking the microphones, throwing chairs.
True.
I really wish like I could see the crowd, because I bet there was the mob in the front, like the mosh pit. That would be insane to me. I feel like that would just be crazy.
So good.
This is basically the pod.
I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, theoretically, someone somewhere who stopped believing in the Ouroboros spinning forward, that is the great irony of punk that propels everything. If at one point they stopped and were like, okay, I understand punk now, then they saw this and got really angry at it. That makes me laugh, just kind of inventing a guy in my head who's mad at a YouTuber. Imagining how sick the mosh pit would have been at a Sex Pistols show.
I mean, it must have been pretty sick. Quite sick also in terms of all the loogies being hawked. I mean, that's an easy way to contract a sickness.
That's true. So anyways, there are so many reaction videos to this song, and they're all very cute. Maybe one day we'll do if we stream again, I would like to watch a couple more of them. But here, I
thought we were just watching reaction videos. I was down.
Yeah, okay, this one is... This guy's like remaking it from memory, I guess.
People.
This is
Cat
very YouTube-y.
Taking a deuce. Hey guys, it's Otto. So today we're gonna make a song from my memory again.
Why did he say his own name with an accent?
A song from scratch that I haven't heard.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to have an accent on it. Well, maybe it's like his name's like a
it's
poutine kind of
Anarchy
situation where you gotta say it
by
with the
Sex
accent.
Pistols. That was a suggestion by one of you peeps, so keep suggesting. I'm listening. My ears are wide and open. I haven't heard Anarchy in the UK in probably 7 years, so
this is actually a pretty good idea. So just not listen to it and not look up the lyrics.
So we're gonna try to do this. We're gonna try to make the drums, the bass, the guitars,
he posted
the vocals,
a sea bass when he said bass.
And then we're gonna compare my remake to the original,
and yet I love him,
and see how much I cringe. So before we begin, I make videos like this once a week, sometimes twice a week, and they're usually music production related challenges.
This is 14 minutes
so if you're into
long.
that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe
we at least
button.
Get to the end and hear
with a butter knife. We're going to do this. So,
butter. Great John Lennon moment with the butter.
A session, and it's called Anouk because Anarchy in the UK. So it's like,
okay, I think we got to skip ahead and just hear what his
all right. I think that's
Anarchy in the UK sounds
I think the bass is a bit cleaner.
Also, can we just talk about how like the intro of this song is so iconic? Like, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Also, does he also have to remember the lyrics past time?
It looks like he was typing it up.
Destroy everything because Yeah, let's go with that. I want to destroy everything because I want to be Anarchy. Yeah, let's go with that. Anarchy! Yeah. Oh, I'm having so much fun. Let's do background vocals and we're done.
That was so upsetting.
Okay.
Oh, that's the other thing. Great harms in this song.
Okay, now I'm kind of talking like the vocals. All right, now it's time to mix a little bit. I don't think I'll be doing too much in the mixing right now.
Seems faster.
Right now.
Throw it more pop punk.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty good. I thought
that was pretty great.
That was pretty cool. Okay, up next, this is just cute. This is I like this one because it makes me happy. This is someone playing it perfectly after I think have only played guitar for 10 months. This girl with a Guns N' Roses shirt.
Yes.
And in the description, she's like, I kind of screwed up a couple notes on one of the solos, but otherwise, I nailed it. I mean, learning bar chords is painful.
Yeah, but then once you do, you just never have to learn another chord.
I know, it's so good. mean, I love it. This made the whole song worth it, I think.
Oh, shit. 10 months?
That's pretty good. So there's like 4 parodies of it, but I've got so much to get through. I'm only going to play 2 of them. This one is my favorite because it's just somebody, Donald Cacavo, driving around at night making up the parody as he goes along, it seems.
I am an antichrist and I am an anarchist.
I'm just remembering the song.
It says UK parody version cover song. I think he said I want to destroy Park Supply. I think he's driving around in Canada.
Oh.
Anarchy for the USA. Coming sometime might be. Maybe on time stop a traffic line. The future scheme is a decade scheme goes I.
So unsettling. this is a like Lynchian.
Yeah, no, it's shot like the Twin Peaks, like driving in the episode with the like atomic explosion episode where they're just like driving in the desert. Like it honestly looks super Lynchy.
I use Anarchy.
I want to like. Also, it's so shaky. I can't read a sign, but it's definitely in Canada. Yeah.
Get pissed. Destroy.
The get pissed destroy thing is so good too. Oh my god, so this guy's whole song seems to be his whole YouTube is him driving around.
Driving at night?
Driving at night and making these upsetting Oh, that is sick.
This video fucking rules. This is canon. This is actually this is the new like primary recording of
I think we're gonna have to revisit this channel one day because
I think so. Yes.
There's so much. There's so much videos of him driving around talking about reptilians, talking about Karens and anti-vaxxers, singing
shit.
"I'm Popeye the Sailor Man." I mean, if we start
I want
now,
to hear his Luciano Pavarotti "O Solo Mio" parody song cover.
if we start now, we're never going to stop. So I think we need to immediately move on because I also found the other parody I want to play is this looks like it's some sort of novelty comedy ringtone. Offensive C-word, explicit pistols, sex, anarchy in the UK. God save that. This is from the user Funny Ringtones for iPhone, Android, and more.
You should make that your ringtone. That would be so funny.
It's kind of confusing for a ringtone. That seems like it should be a ring tune, or what's it called? Where when you would call people, it would play a song instead of a ringing inside the phone.
Right.
Because why would this be
outgoing ring?
Why would you have your phone playing a ringing sound and then you talking about not answering it for yourself? Like, how does that make sense?
I guess, I think this might be more for other people. Like, let's say you were having your phone serving and you're like, check out this. This is from the Ultimate Comedy Ringtones Volume 7. You might have read about it, but I've got it. I've got it on here.
I've got it. Before it was pulled.
You're a cheeky little fella.
Before they pulled it because it wasn't cleared like Dawn does.
Yeah, exactly.
This next YouTube thing from a comedy troupe, it makes me so furious and I hate it so much that I almost didn't play it, but because it made me feel that, I felt like my teeth are starting to hurt from just looking at the screenshot because it's so aggravating. This seems to be like a struggle comedy duo called The Happy Show. This is called The Punkers Sing Anarchy in the UK, and it makes me want to die so much.
Oh, no.
I am the Antichrist. I am the Antichrist. I don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to destroy.
I mean, the guy in the foreground.
I
feel sick.
It's upsetting.
hate it so much.
Like,
It's destroy.
oh, that was vile. That was so vile.
I just had to. I'm sorry. I just had to.
No,
but
that was not nice.
Like, I literally didn't write it down in my notes, and then half an hour later, I was like, probably the fact that I didn't write it down is a sign that I should go get it because it's so disgusting.
It made me sick to my stomach looking at that guy.
It's like I don't know how to explain why, but it's just like gruesome looking. Something about it is gruesome. I think this will cheer you up. Instead, this is some sort of choral tribute to the Sex Pistols in Estonia in 2015, and the entire choir is dressed like a punker. And there's a fucking pit for the reaction video.
Oh my God! Yes.
It's so sick. I don't really know anything about Estonia, but it seems sick as hell.
I think Estonia has like very advanced
Halloween stores with punk costumes.
I think that's it. No, like the internet, they have very advanced internet. So, they're like a very, they embrace the internet early on. They're a very technologically advanced nation.
Is that true?
Yeah, this is real. I'm not making this up. I mean, I'm saying it like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you're saying something that seems like it's a joke or that you're referencing something that you're not. But I guess that's just...
No, I'm not. It has the highest penetration rate in the world.
Come on, Sam, grow up.
Listen, I mean, good on them,
well, they also...
As long as it's consensual.
This thing did not seem like an internet savvy group of people. These weird normie, like it looked for some reason that was filmed like it was a Just for Laughs gag, but it was from 2015, and it very kind of normcore aesthetic. It was very bizarre.
It's so good. Okay, you basically you can every government document, anything that you do, you have like a chip identity card. I mean, it's a little spooky future, but like you don't have to sign shit. Look at. I'm not going to tell. They invented Skype.
Wow. Well, that program sucks. So fuck Estonia.
Yeah,
stop trying to get me to like Estonia, Sam.
Wow. Did you know that Estonia has 2 capital cities?
Up next is the Papini sisters, and this is some real dire YouTube content. Here we go. We don't play enough of this kind of shit, but
it's like the clown. Oh.
It actually sounds pretty good if you can't see these like flapper ass. They seem like they're doing like a murder mystery night kind of thing.
Yeah. It's very dinner theater.
Yes. Okay, that's enough of that one. I'm just making myself uncomfortable this week.
Yeah,
it's kind of the vibe that I'm going for. Okay, let's get into a couple like big names who've covered it. Well, starting with, I don't know who this person is, but Roberto Cacchiapaglia. This is from Angelus Rock, a tribute to 10 Rock Angels. This is sick. Oh, they didn't do the rhyme. This sounds like something that you would have seen on PBS on like a sick day when you were a little kid.
What the fuck?
This is so dope. Now it just sounds like Moby.
Yeah, but like honestly, it sounds like one of the like second half of Play songs.
Yeah.
Been in like a lot of different toaster commercials.
I forgot to mention. I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but I did re-listen to Play recently, and it's hilarious how bad it sounds. Like it just sounds like one sample with one drum beat over and over again. Like it just seems like he only had 2 channels or something when he was making it.
That's what's so impressive about Moby. Very few people realize.
So this is Flea covering it by himself on stage in France.
Yes.
I guess it sounds like there's someone playing a saxophone too.
Maybe he's doing both those things.
Flea. What time it is? Stupid. What time it is?
He does start singing it at one point, I promise. Oh, he sounds so cool. This sounds like Dead Moon.
This is so good.
I almost don't even want context for that because I just love it on its own.
Yeah, that just fucking rules.
That was so good. So, do you know anything about? Do you have any opinions or takes on the what I think of as being a pawn shop CD band, Green Jelly, aka Green Jello? The only thing I can think of them is they had like a claymation music video, and I remember that guy Darren from MTV Canada interviewed them on like a YTV show.
Darren from The Buzz, please. Let's show him.
Is that what it was? What was the YTV show called?
Well, no, The Buzz was like his community access shows, him and Mr. Mo. And they had a kind of Tom Green accosting people on the street type cable access show. But I think he was probably he just became a dude who hosted everything in Canada for a while.
And then he just disappeared. Where did that guy go?
He went to the States. He quit MTV to go host a reality show in the States, and it didn't work out.
Oh.
It's like when...
Can't turn your back in Canada.
Green Jello. They had the little pig.
Yeah,
lets me in.
And I remember he interviewed them about that video on some random YTV thing I saw when I was a kid. But then did they have to change their name? Who even likes this band? Who is this band? I feel like I could just see their CD beside Porno for Pyros in a pawn shop. That's what I think of.
Well, notable past members include future Tool members Dana Carey and Maynard James Keenan.
Really?
Yeah.
This sounds disgusting. It seems, I don't know.
Yeah, but that little pig, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good.
Just a cool video.
Yeah, I don't really fuck with the Green Jelly cover. Here is Megadeth, though. They seem to have a really popular cover of it. I don't really have a Megadeth take, do you?
Only that we watched that Woodstock 99 doc, and Dave Mustaine shows up in it, talking about Metallica, and I just burst out laughing. I was like, you have to stop. You fucking have to stop, man. If I was, that's actually what led to us rewatching Some Kind of Monster. I was
sick.
This man can't stop being in documentaries talking about how he used to be in Metallica. It's he can't help himself.
I will say the album art for this compilation or whatever is so cool. It's like a photograph of a TV screen, so it has all the lines. But then the text also looks like it's a photograph of a computer. Yeah. It looks so shitty and cool. Megadeth seems like the perfect scary mouth breather school shooter music of the era. Because they're so shitty. You would only like them if you're a future school shooter, I feel like.
That's it. I feel like my Megadeth take is just like the same basic metal take that I have for everything, which is like the popular album is good. Like Peace Sells is really good.
I don't think I've ever heard it, but that was their
It's
cover.
fucking sick. They have the same rules.
I didn't like that cover really very much, to be honest. Any thoughts?
I feel like the ones that are interesting are the ones that steer into it being this like they take the sort of like avant-garde artistic side of the Sex Pistols as an idea and apply that to the music, and that to me is the most interesting way to reinterpret it.
Well, I don't
just playing it straight feels like almost not getting it, even though it is just like a great song.
That's true, and I don't think Motley Crue is going to be artistic with it either. But Tommy Lee's got some chops though.
Ooh.
Doing the laugh. One of the great laughs.
Just misses all this live footage, yeah.
It kind of the chord progression does kind of have a hair metal feel though.
Yeah, totally.
I wonder if they changed the lyrics from not being in the UK.
Anarchy in LA.
Oh, they changed it to USA. Yeah, I don't know about that either.
No,
not so hot.
I'm not real excited about that now.
But the last one I want to play of the kind of the celeb section before we get to the true celebs, which is our friends from the pod, is also actually I think we've got a guest, or I'm going to have to edit that out. But I'm pretty sure we've got a guest coming up too. But before we get to our pod family celebs, the real celebs. So this one I think I don't remember. I haven't listened to this in forever, but this does have elements of pretension that might serve it well, because in like the 2000s, U2 made a movie with Wim Wenders, most famous for Paris, Texas, probably, called The $1 Million Hotel. And it's a really shitty movie, but it's like very vibey as all hell. And there was a U2 hit from it called The Ground Beneath Her Feet. That was like a really good song. And the soundtrack had Bono and The Edge, and I think someone singing it in Spanish, but there was a cover of Anarchy in the UK, which I can't seem to find, but this is some sort of live version of that. It's U2 with Daniel Lanois, and Wim Wenders is there, and so is the guy from the guy in the background is from $1 Million Hotel. This just sounds like fucked up, pretty much.
Yeah. What else is that guy from?
I don't know. He always reminded me of Tom from Gob. But that's also what's the lady from The Fifth Element?
Yeah, it's
Mila Jovovich.
Mila Jovovich, yeah.
They're like moshing around while Bono's playing a Les Paul.
Oh, it's he's in Justified.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he plays Dickie Bennett in Justified.
I mean, this is a pretty terrible movie, but it's also vibey as hell and cool soundtrack.
This is just what fucked up sounds like.
Maybe it's Bono's, or is he singing something else?
Bono used to be a good hang.
Yeah, I mean, I watched this video and I just think it's really cool. All of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I just don't know that he's still. That's my concern. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, he probably used to just talks to you about like red. I bet you he likes crypto. I bet he's trying to make like red crypto now or whatever.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. Maybe I would like to talk to him.
I'm very excited to welcome to 155 two people that have definitely been in our orbit for a long time, and they're finally here. We've got Jacob Ciocci and David Wightman from Extreme Animals and Paper Rad and DJ George Costanza. I mean, it's all happening. What's up, you guys?
Hi, great to be here.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, that's great. So, I mean, there's so many places to start. I think the first place I want to start is just, for me personally, a huge part of my life was discovering Paper Rad online and kind of learning about just kind of, I think for me it was like the repurposing of other people's intellectual property in a way that wasn't like an Adbusters kind of way, but just kind of like more fun and joyful. I mean, I just got to say right off the bat, Paper Rad is a huge part of my upbringing. I'm a huge fan, so I'm so excited to get some Paper Rad in the mix first off.
Yeah, thank you. That's great to hear. It's so funny because today I am writing my tenure dossier for my tenure track job here in the United States teaching animation, and I literally wrote the sentence like 7 times today, like, Paper Rad was really influential to a younger generation of artists and media makers.
Well, there you go. And I'm, if you want to put the 10-year committee or whatever in front of me, I'll back you up. I don't know if it's a committee or what.
It is a committee, and I will call you in to the meeting. Maybe we can fly you down.
How does it feel about, like, I mean, in a way, this is really stupid, and I think I'm just trying to shoehorn it into this episode, but it does remind me of, like, the Sex Pistols showing up and kind of inventing a whole aesthetic, and, like, the Paper Rad aesthetic was everywhere, and maybe still is. I mean, was that frustrating, or was it satisfying, or how did you feel about that?
Actually, that is a really amazing kind of interpretation, because one of the main things me and David wanted to talk about with the Sex Pistols is just how underwhelmed we were when we actually heard it, because we'd heard so much hype about it and so much like build up that by the time I actually heard the music, I was underwhelmed because the style was so much bigger than the content. And I didn't experience that when I was in the Paper Rad Art Collective because I was heavily in it. I just had people telling me, oh, this is so cool all the time. But after it ended, I kind of had like this waking up of like, oh no, this stuff is like really becoming, watered down and meaningless and blah, blah, blah. All these things that I'm sure any, someone who's been a part of anything cultural that changes meaning feels that way.
Right.
And then, the other thing that I think is really interesting, though, is like so something like the Paper Rad aesthetic becomes like easy to hate on, easy to, just look down, think is sort of become trite or something. And then it just takes somebody like, it hasn't happened yet, but somebody like DJ George Costanza to kind of like reinvent it in a different way. So what I'm saying is I think that David's pop punk remix kind of, and your podcast, all these things are a way of like giving something a new life that has started to feel played out, or that did feel played out, and now all of a sudden can like resurface in a different way.
Right. I love that. I love that thing of like people, especially around I don't know, I can't even think of the timeline, but in the 2000s, everyone hated on this idea of hipsters or whatever and hip things. Yeah. But I love the idea of things kind of having a moment where like it just makes perfect sense for the zeitgeist, and then it kind of to some people becomes boring, but then it just eventually gets reinvented or something. And honestly, I was telling you before we started, I saw Extreme Animals once, and I was punishingly talking to you both about Blink-182 after like a million years ago, and who would have thought that these things could happen? And so David with DJ George Costanza, I mean, I guess you can both think about this while you're talking, but the broader question is like, what is your relationship to the idea of punk and what does it mean to you? But also for David, I mean, with DJ George Costanza, tell me about what you were doing by kind of, because that was very early on with now what is just kind of a very normie thing to love mall emo or whatever. What was the motivation behind those mega mixes that you posted on SoundCloud that are kind of like, in my mind at least, legendary?
Yeah, I think like those, I don't know. So yeah, for people who don't know about this, I did a DJ mix that was like blended pop punk songs with with air horns and like DJ drops, and it like back in 2013 maybe or something. And so I think at that time, like I was like I think with that, and also with the music that Jacob and I make with Extreme Animals, it oftentimes it's like combining things where you often think of them in a different light, but they but then trying to use really disparate things together in a way that makes sense. And so doing so I had really I lived in San Diego before that and got into kind of pop punk there. It was such a part of the culture, and then kind of late in life, and then but before that was into was DJing more like conventional music. So yeah, so I don't know. I mean, I think that kind of came out of putting two things. Yeah, again, putting two things together that don't make sense, but then kind of recontextualize each other. And I think they kind of both that mix kind of made light, but also was really respectful of both genres, or at least that's kind of how I felt about it when it came out at the time.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think it's fine to. I personally think it's fine to even make fun of things while also loving them, and I think you can hear that in those mixes. So, for both of you, what's your relationship with punk music, punk culture, and I guess also the Sex Pistols, who are kind of also instantly. I mean, I just feel like there's so much irony to the Sex Pistols that it's kind of. It's funny because we have so many different kinds of people who listen to this podcast, and some people have such a visceral hatred of them, and some people love them and think they're like a cool art project or whatever. How do you guys feel about the Sex Pistols?
Well, I wanted to say, first of all, about the punk question, that I think, wrapping in both what me and David do, and David is talking about this idea of combining two things that aren't meant to be combined and seeing what happens. To me, that's kind of what punk has always been, is an attitude of rebelliousness that has to do with power structures. And so when you're combining two things, especially if one of the things is really uncool at that moment, there's a kind of power move to that. And so back to Paper Rad, that's kind of what we did, was we brought all these bright colors into punk on this early 80s video game, as well as cartoon culture into DIY punk noise music culture. So that was a sort of power move, and I similarly feel like that's my definition of it, and that's why I think good sampling based music, good remix music is sort of fits into that idea of punk. Girl Talk, a friend of or an acquaintance of mine from Pittsburgh, I would say he was a punk musician for the first half of his career as a mashup artist or whatever. So anyway, that's my take on the definition of that, and I can get into how I feel about the Sex Pistols in a little bit. I'm curious what you think.
I mean, I just going off of what you were saying, I think it's it is kind of interesting when people kind of bring the term punk to talk about artists that are out of the punk scene, but I think it oftentimes comes off it can be kind of negative in a way. I had a professor who was talking about Soulja Boy being punk, and I was just we should he should just be. He can be something else. We don't have to view him in that lens. You know what I mean? Where I understand the idea of I think what maybe he was trying to get at the point that he was going back to that power. But I just think sometimes it's nice to let labels lie and let them die where they are or something, and
totally move on, and also. Move on, and then also why that was your professor trying to legitimize Soulja Boy, who may not need to be legitimized in that way. You know what I mean? Often people are oh yeah, that's so punk, as a way to kind of
it's
that's calling something punk is somehow makes it I don't know, a good thing to do or something.
That's I mean that's why I find talking about the Sex Pistols now so interesting, because all of these kinds of conversations and a snake eating itself happened already with them that early on. But I mean, I'm not sure if you guys are aware. I don't know if you read TMZ, but Travis Barker, the drummer of Blink-182, is dating a Kardashian now, and they're constantly, making out and fondling each other in public. And he wears like really expensive dead stock Crass and Black Flag t-shirts. So that's always on TMZ. And like, that's just like such an interesting and fascinating tension to me, that he's bringing these high end, sought after record geek culture into the tabloid sphere.
Yeah, exactly. And also, getting back to what you were saying earlier, the Sex Pistols was a manufactured like fashion band. They weren't even like, really a DIY, like hardcore style band as we understand it in the United States. It was like put together by Malcolm McLaren as a way to kind of like capitalize on certain things that were happening and certain things that he kind of invented,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, at least that's how, my history is not that great on that band's life, but that's my understanding anyway.
Yeah, we're more of a vibe-based podcast anyways, rather than a facts podcast. But I think that's kind of the vibe. Now, you were saying that you thought the music didn't really live up to the legend. Personally, I think it's like pretty sick, just like classic rock basically on the album. But
yes. Go ahead.
Well, we were talking about this just a little bit last night, and I was saying, like, to me, it almost sounds like doo-wop in a little like and I think, but I will say, like, like when the guitar comes in at the beginning, it sounds so loud and compressed. Like it sounds like that moment is really great, and I can't like trash talk the whole song without like acknowledging that part, at least,
It's
like
true.
the way it's recorded, it just, I think the production is really nice.
I mean, it's fascinating. But I guess I want to know, like, so there's already kind of a little bit of slight disagreement about using the term punk outside of a traditional punk space. So do you think of Extreme Animals as a punk band?
Cyberpunk? David?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I wouldn't describe it as that, but I wouldn't, if somebody said we were a punk band, I wouldn't like try to correct them, I guess.
Yeah, it's definitely not worth arguing about. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
The energy used to admit the words out of my mouth to argue with someone about that song, the energy used to type with my fingers on my smartphone it's not worth it. I have a limited amount of energy,
Yeah, it's true. But there is something to be said. The pendulum, you mentioned Girl Talk and some of the stuff Paper Ad was doing and mixing things together that shouldn't be mixed. What about, I feel like, I personally think sort of cultural, not in terms of like a gross kind of socio-political way, but in terms of just purely aesthetic, I feel like for the last 10 years, gatekeepers have gotten maybe a bad rap for, what is there to be said about preserving genres and artistic ideas as well?
Like the opposite of combining.
Yeah, just kind of like, someone who's mad that you're misusing the word punk, do they have any value in the conversation?
Oh, God, that's a great question. What do you think, David? Like, I really liked what you were saying, David, about just leaving things behind, kind of like not, like letting it die. Like, what is this? Why are we so hell-bent on, like, legacy,
Yeah, I just think it could become dangerous if, like, everything that has a little, like, aggression or is a little wild or whatever, if we start calling that punk, if it comes from something else, from a different, very different place, but just like it shares these common feelings or features, or but I think like all that being said, I think like it's good to find those similarities and connections and like tease those out. And I think language can serve, like if it helps somebody understand something or like is a gateway into something that could be really useful potentially. It's just really nuanced, I guess.
Yeah, that's interesting. And I mean, getting back into your idea of the podcast as vibe based, is sort of like rather than fact based. It works well with, fake news, but also it works with like,
yeah,
just sort of like there's lore and then there's Wikipedia and like people are hell-bent on both, like clearly like lore or like just the way people talk about a term shifts and changes and is like faster moving than how it functions on Wikipedia. But then there's always the Wikipedia people in this world, so there's always like people that are like vibe based, and then there's always people that are editing the vibe based posts and like you go ahead,
I think,
David.
Like this reminds me of like Juicebox put out a pop, like I think it's called pop punk mix on Spotify that was just like where he basically like broadened that term to mean something else. And I think like that is like a good example of somebody using punk in like a broad spectrum in a way that doesn't like negate differences, but in a way that's like inclusive and productive or something.
Right.
Yeah. It's all about nuance, right? Like it all depends who's doing it, why, and for whom.
Yeah, I think motive is important too. Maybe
motive. Yeah.
So I don't know if you have anything else you want to say about the Sex Pistols.
I definitely do. I have a story.
Okay, please.
So I was in like maybe 6th or 7th grade, and my father is a nurse practitioner at a hospital, and he comes home, and I already kind of tried to get into alternative music through Columbia Music House, which is like it's like a tape. We were ordering tapes, and they'd give you like 10 free tapes, and they'd come in the mail, and they'd be like mainstream alternative bands. So I'd heard about like all in one sort of little collection. Me and my sister got like the Grateful Dead and Black Flag and the Susie and the Banshees and like REM or something. These all come in the mail at the same time, and none of this on MTV really, or we don't watch MTV. I don't know. So then my dad comes home and he's like, "Oh, Jacob, I heard you're into this alternative music. Well, this guy I work with is a doctor, and he wrote an essay about this band that created alternative music." Oh, what? Okay, what are you talking about? And meanwhile, I'm like a super nerd. Like I'm really into like choir and comic books, and I'm trying to see if like it's possible for me to be edgy or not. And I'm like, okay, so this is a really edgy thing I'm getting into. And then this dude is like, my dad works with has this like hyper edgy band. And I think this doctor must have written this essay in like grad school or something for like maybe like an elective course. I have no idea, but my dad gave it to me, and it was like, of course, typed out and Xeroxed because it was 1989 or 90 or something. And I read it, and it was just all this stuff about how this band like exploded everything and like changed the history, and it's the most aggressive, angry, all these things. And I was like, what is this? And I was really, really excited. And then the tape came in the mail, and I listened to it, and I was just so let down. Like David said, it sounded to me like, first of all, the chords were major chords, not minor chords. And me and David, we were both like, David was in choir and, like orchestras and stuff. Like if something wanted to sound evil, I'd heard Metallica, I wanted it to be like scary sounding. And it was just so unscary in comparison to metal that I was just like, I thought it was like the wrong tape even.
That's so good.
Yeah. And then it was like I just let down every time I would see someone with a Sex Pistols shirt. I would just be Like, I was like, I'm just missing something. There's something really, like, I don't get it at all. And then also, like, the fact that all the lyrics are about, like, British politics makes no sense to you if you're in, like, 6th grade in suburban Kentucky. You know? So I was just like, this is a mistake. Like, all these people are not, what's going on? And it wasn't, I mean, I probably wasn't until college that I understood the context. But, you know, the only thing that ever made like punk actually then start to feel like what I'd imagined it to sound like was when I moved to North Carolina, and probably David played me like actual hardcore bands, you know, American hardcore bands, you know.
Right.
But before that, I was just so confused by what it was, because the hype was so big.
Yeah.
I don't know, David, do you have anything to add to that story? I mean, I know yours was kind of similar, like just the hype being bigger than the sound.
Yeah, I think, my sister got the tape, and I didn't really know what to make of it. But I think the kind of follow up to Jacob's story about the Sex Pistols is that Jacob and I went to college, and we were the first year we were roommates. And for his birthday, I bought him a Sex Pistols shirt.
Yeah, true story.
And
like $30.
When I ordered it, like I was like listening to it, I was like, yeah, it was like one of those present decisions where you want to get it, like you're getting somebody something that really you want, you know, like Homer Simpson with the bowling ball, and but then by the time it came, you know, I ordered it off of like Maximum Rock and Roll or something out of the back of that, and then by the time it came, like we were both, like that moment of where I thought it was cool for some reason had expired, and I don't think Jacob ever wore it once, but.
Well, that's not true. I did wear it, but you never saw it because you transferred to a different school.
Okay.
No, maybe I did it. Maybe I didn't wear it. I don't remember. But I will say that I also think there's the DJ George Costanza spirit is in that purchase, because it's like, so we're freshmen at Oberlin College. The Sex Pistols are not cool. They're like, yeah, like you were saying earlier, they're like, you know, they're not real punk. And everyone there at Oberlin is into like no wave and art punk, you know, like The Fall and The Residents or whatever.
Yeah.
And so for David to like be in that scene and culture at Oberlin and be like, you know what, I'm going to get Jacob for Christmas a $30 like glittery Sex Pistols shirt. To me, he wasn't just like, that would be funny. He was like, actually, I think the Sex Pistols are good. And then he was like, you know, really, I'm pretty sure you probably really studied it for a minute before you made the purchase, you know.
That's so good.
And then, like you said, by the time it came, you were probably like, actually, wait, never mind.
Right. I think I felt kind of bad giving it to you.
Yeah.
Because I knew that neither of us would like it at that point.
Yeah.
Weird.
But I do remember wearing it, and I probably copped it. I probably was like, it's ironic, or, you know, like I probably was like trying to, like, I was trying to pretend like there were layers and layers of like appropriation happening.
I think there were, though. That's the thing. As I bet you there were.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it was like this really fancy Sex Pistols shirt. It was like glittery, and I was just listening to the thing on YouTube, the Sex Pistols Anarchy in the UK on YouTube, and it was like the 7-inch art on the right for the official 7-inch version is the album art, or is the T-shirt art that you gave me. So it's like this official Sex Pistols, like, you know, super fan shirt.
That's so good.
Yeah, and again, like you said, some people are like Sex Pistols super fans, but I was not, you know.
Oh my God, that's great. Okay, so before I let you guys go, there is a new Extreme Animals album coming out, right?
Yeah, it's so we already released the videos on a limited edition, like a VHS DVD through Random Man Editions. That's sold out, and now we're going to reissue it, that same label, as well as put out all of the music to Bandcamp and Spotify, etc. Oh, it's called Psychology Today, and it'll be out again the music will be out for the first time, and the videos will be back out in October, right, David?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope that everybody goes and checks out Extreme Animals. I mean, it's such a sick band, such an underrated band. And thank you both for coming on. Thank you for all that you've done in pushing these cultural conversations forward.
Oh my God, thank you for pushing the cultural conversations forward.
Thanks.
I mean, we're running out of ways to do this bit, but, the covers are... You got anything for me? Or?
It felt like a staring contest. Listen, Josiah, I'm going to level with you. Uh-huh. All of these covers, every single one of them comes from you're in my, this is like a possessive way of saying it, our Patreon gatekeepers. And they were made, Josiah, if you can't believe, in less than 96. That's 960 hours. For $5, that's $500 a month, you get the early tip on next week's song, sometimes in emoji form.
And this week, that doesn't really count this week, but, usually.
Yeah, this week's all fucked up. This week's all fucked up. Bonus episodes. This week's bonus episode is good. I mean, they're always great. Early episodes. That's right. You get it a day early. You get the newsletter, again, not this week. Things have been complicated. And access to the Discord, where various people from the pod will attack you.
You could just go in there and say some shit that you would say on Twitter, and normally your people, I'm going to go ahead and guess that you probably have... everyone who listens to this show, probably on average, if we average out all the followers, you probably have about 72 people who follow you. And you could post your music take on Twitter, and all of those 72 people would agree with you and would never push you back. But if you post the take in our Discord, someone's going to realize how corny you are. And it's interesting, and it's a growth experience for everyone involved.
Yeah, so if you want to grow, join the Gatekeeper tier on our Patreon. All of the songs that you're going to hear are available in full on our Bandcamp. That's the 155 Bandcamp on Monday. That's Monday. The day we all know and love.
All right, well, up first.
This Monday? Will we do it this Monday?
Yeah.
It's a holiday.
Oh, well,
is that Labor?
Memorial in America. They don't, I think, right? Or is it? No, it's Labor Day everywhere. Memorial is different.
They don't respect labor like we do here in Canada.
No, it is Labor Day, but they just spell it different. They don't have the U. They're more
Labar Day.
Up first is 20th Century. We know 20th Century as a member of the wonderful rock group Split Hairs. This is 20th Century with Anarchy in the UK. We're starting at the 1 minute 11 mark. Let's fucking go. So much space in the 20th Century Split Hairs tunes this week, lately. Beautiful.
That's fucking gorgeous. I felt like this was going to be like a fun one for people to cover, and that is such a gorgeous, perfect way to open this up. But it's setting the bar quite high.
I agree. Well, up next is Jonathan B. Rotted with Anarchy in the UK, which is clearly, obviously, going to be some uke shit. The thing is, there was an Anarchy in the UK pun that kept popping up on YouTube as well, but we could have really gone hardcore with. We could have just made this whole podcast about this song probably for the month. And that would have been interesting, but I think everyone would have hated us, probably. But here's Jonathan B. Rotted with Anarchy in the Uke, eh? Right now, so good. There's a lead coming in.
I know. It's beautiful.
See, the problem with uke usually is that it's usually very eye contact-y and very annoying as all hell. But that was so restrained and refined that I really did.
No, that
get
uke was afraid of eye contact.
I got the feeling I had been cheated in a good way from that one.
We didn't talk about this in the main episode, and it really sort of popped out in that context. Is passerby just has such like Google Translate.
I know,
as a lyric.
So good. I agree. I meant to mention that too because I love that. I want to destroy passerby.
Why?
Also, I feel like it's one of those words where, when pluralized, it would probably be passers-by, which is also that's funny when that happens, and it'd be funny if he had said it that I want to destroy passers-by. Either way,
well, he didn't say he wanted to destroy proper grammar, so.
Up next is Mikey Danny, who is a relatively new submittor to the pod. Just recent high school grad, Mikey Danny, collaborating with Tender Hell. Mikey Danny says, I finally moved into my dorm and set up my music stuff, so I'll be able to pump out covers again. Tender Hell came in clutch with the vocals, because the only option I have for recording vocals is in my closet, and I don't feel like getting on my roommate's nerves yet. I mean, I can't wait. I can't wait for you to.
Yes, I feel like we are only in the prologue to what is going to be a beautiful story that is
beautiful college experience. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're gonna put a sock on the door. Put a sock on the door handle when you're recording for the pod.
Covers. Yeah.
It's interesting. This is spelled. I can't tell if this is a typo or not. Anarchy is spelled differently so many times in this cover. It says Araki in the UK, Arachy, but then the file says Ararchy, Ararchy. Either way,
Ararchy.
I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but I like it. Ooh.
Okay.
This sounds like nothing I've ever heard before.
Yeah, this is like when people like talk about future music and like hyperpop. This is actual future music.
Yeah. Like the beautiful Tender Hell singing, but then it was like it had to kind of there's a reference to propaganda, I feel like, in the wrist action of the guitar, and then it was
100%.
like it was fast, but then kind of had a surfy thing when it went halftime. That was so bizarre and wonderful.
But that was actually like truly unique.
I loved it. Oh my god!
Yeah, it was fucking sick.
All right. Vampire Killing Victim, Anarchy in the VC. I think this might be the return of Vampire Crack, maybe? Vampire Killing Victim.
Okay.
Shiza was sipping on the Dragon yesterday, Tompkins Square Park up by Avenue A. Half down the 40, a pig walked up to she and said, listen here, girl, gotta show me your ID. Long story short, they took her in, and Brad Logan stepped to the mic to make this one happen. Props, big man. Living in a police state, I tell you, man, it ain't that great. We have no rights. There's only ignorant bliss. TK. Todd Killings. Fuck yes. I mean, this is going to be I already can tell you this is going to be a huge one. Let's go.
Yes.
okay, Vampire Crack is like such a sick band, and whenever they reference Choking Victim, I just like sort of in my mind's eye start planning a mood board of like when I finally decide to become an Oogle. And I think maybe in the next little while, once Travis Barker makes punk stuff so embarrassing that the only choice is to become an Oogle, maybe I'm really going to step it up and stop being a hype beast and become an Oogle.
This is exciting. This is an exciting moment to share with you.
That was so cool.
That was fucking awesome.
That made me want to start smoking a cigarette inside my apartment, but one that I find on the street outside.
Right. Bringing your outdoor smokes in.
It made me want to sip an ashtray, to be honest.
I mean, you do live in Montreal.
Yeah, that was so sick. Okay.
Yeah.
Shawn Mendes' lawyer's best friend, Anarchy, and his package. And this is, if in the exclusive we mentioned the submission of the question was from Disney World. And I think that's true because it says this is Shawn Mendes' lawyer's best friend from Edmonton submitting on his behalf because he's on vacation. So this has gone around the country to make its way to us.
Wow. Yeah, global law. Worldwide law.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Adam and his package. Art, but it's Shawn Mendes. Kind of sounds like chopped and screwed Adam in his package.
Yeah, like it sort of like nailed the basic sounds of Adam in his package are there, but then it's like very much woozy. Like I feel like I've been sipping on something, you know?
That was cool though.
Oh yeah, that was fucking great.
Great work. Soothing, earnest gun rage monologues to drink sparkling water to. Are we your enemies? This is Ernest assembled Caleb and Soothing to work on. Assembled, sorry. Not. What did I say? Ensembled? Trying to say ensemble?
Inseminated, which I thought was really.
Ernest assembled Caleb and Soothing to work on this cover. Results speak for themselves. Are we your enemy? I forgot to say that was a little tidbit from the Wikipedia that probably I could have pretended wasn't something I read in Wikipedia. But I think people think that when he says "are we," or when he says something "enemy" in the song, he's talking about the New Music Express, the freaking publication. Enemy.
Yeah, like the lesser Kerrang!
It's so funny that I think definitely never again in history will there be you can name a publication as shorthand for like being the authority about music or about culture, you know, like even like 15 years ago, 10 years ago, people talking about Pitchfork, like that doesn't mean anything. That will
never happen again. Yeah,
it's kind of, I don't know, probably for the best.
Well, punk news still got it. You know,
155 basically is.
That's it. Yeah, it's just us. We're the only authority.
And the freaking hard times. Okay, here we go.
Whenever you're handling a firearm, always keep the gun pointed.
Ooh.
I am an antichrist and I am an anarchist. Don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to destroy a passerby because I want to be anarchy. Anarchy for the UK. It's coming time. And maybe you're the wrong time. Stop a traffic line. Your future dream is a shopping scheme. Because I want to be anarchy in the city.
This one gave me shivers. It's so beautiful. Oh my god. Just a perfect collage.
That was fucking awesome.
Cut and paste.
I'm so
culture.
I'm so excited about these covers. Like I truly am.
That one made me think like, damn, I wish I could be involved with these. And I guess theoretically I could, but ultimately we did say,
what's stopping you?
If we reach a certain Patreon goal, then we're going to make a covers album. But I don't know, the old Patreon dial just ain't.
Listen, it doesn't seem to be enticing. For some reason, people who listen to this podcast aren't motivated by wanting to hear you and me cover the Sex Pistols, and I don't know why.
It seems like the more things we offer that involve us, the less people sign up. So maybe something else maybe we won't. If we get more people, we won't release an episode every week. Or
that's interesting.
Okay, up next is
just start blackmailing people.
Duo Gorfs. Is this maybe
Gorfs?
Wood frogs, maybe? Anarchy, UK. Duo Gorfs is D on vocals, Dottie Be Good on electric guitar, and soothing looping. Okay, so this came up in the recent mailbag thing, and we're gonna stop pretending there's anyone here who's a newbie, because this came up. I've been saying Desire's name wrong as Desiree, but it's because every time I see it, it says, look how this is written. D-E-H pronounced D-E-H. Duh. So that's duh. I guess I was saying day. I was seeing that as day, because I'm so Canadian. I was seeing the EH and going day.
Right. I mean, it's fair.
Well, also Desiree. Desire. No, okay, I fucked up. I fucked up badly.
Yeah.
I fucked up.
It's fine.
I'm so sorry, everyone. Holy shit. Why are there all these enormous collaborations that just have so much layered depth? That was just ridiculous. And the backmasking at that one part?
Yeah, I mean, the collaboration sort of makes sense because in many ways are we like the Malcolm McLarens of the sex shop that is the niche, right?
I feel like as soon as when you're talking about like sort of what became high fashion and this slick borderline fascist punk look that is all about harsh lines and stuff, as soon as you say the word niche, it really just falls apart.
Yeah, if I had stuck with nation, there would have been an edge to it. But
there's no
nothing fascist about a niche.
There really isn't, and maybe that's why it works. Okay, up next is another collab, Shoes and Bug, the all-time the Garfunkel and Oates of our time. I couldn't even remember Simon and Garfunkel. I can only think of the cheesy ass alt comedy duo. The Garfunkel and Oates of our time, Shoes and Bug. This is what Shoes says. Bugman sent me an 80% finish, incredible magnum opus, and trusted me enough to take it across the finish line. And then Shoes does some self-effacing thing, and you know what? Fuck off with that, all of you. You're all wonderful.
Self-effacing.
Here we go. Anarchy in the UK. Yeah. From Garfunkel and Oates, Shoes and Bug.
Garfunkel and Oates, man.
Whoa! there's still almost a full 5 minutes of that, and I can already tell that's going places. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That
was fucking sick.
Wow, amazing. Okay, next is Jordan Lane. I'm just gonna skip ahead a little bit. As I'm reading the first start, just keep in mind that he ends it by saying, "Apologies if you've already discussed this on the show." I mean, we've basically just discussed, I don't know, probably ourselves and YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah. I mean, I think we spent a long time talking about, maybe that was in the Sclusy. Like, I do feel like we talked about cum already today, because that's always my go-to joke. But we did do that.
Here's what Jordan thinks we might have talked about already on the show. I was listening to this song and realized the vocal would work well over Wayne Smith's Slang Tang. Turns out Slang Tang, Anarchy, and Bowie's Hang On To Yourself have shared musical roots in Eddie Cochran's Something Else. I mean, we did actually talk about that.
Yeah, I've obviously talked about that.
As soon as I read Slang Tang out loud, I was like, oh yeah, of course I was talking about Slang Tang earlier.
Yeah. I mean, I get that it's been like a minute, but we spent half an hour talking about Slang Tang together.
Jordan says, anyway, I put together my own version of the Slang Tang rhythm and then turned it into a footwork jungle track. Fuck yes. Sick.
Holy fuck. But I love the idea that, like, what I can tell from that description is, like, Jordan made his own version of the Slang Tang song and then remixed it.
I think so. Yeah, the Slang Tang rhythm. Maybe slang. I'm gonna stop pretending that I know what Slang Tang means and that I'm not just saying it because it's so fun to say Slang Tang.
I mean, I know Hang On To Yourself, like, so I know 66% of what is being referenced here.
So sick, Jordan. Oh my God.
Yeah, that was fucking cool.
So cool. This one's going to be great too. This is Snake Godspeed You Black Emperor with Slow Riot for the UK. Oh wow, that's an abomination of artwork. Holy shit.
Oh no.
All right, we're starting 3 minutes into Snake Godspeed You Black Emperor.
Grow up. Nice to see you nice. All right? Yeah. This used to be all bomb site area. You know, after the war, they never repaired it. And we grew up like tinkering with broken, blown up bits of things.
Reference to the Coney Island monologue.
Yeah.
Serious tests and tetanus shot. And then I got bitten by a rat just about everywhere around here. That's how it used to be. I'm not saying that was a good lifestyle, but God, we used to like each other as people, and they've turned into this wasteland, right? Look at it. Where did I go to school? I go up this road here, and then I go across to a place called Eden Grove, which was a torture chamber run by nuns.
Oh yeah.
Like, is that a real quote from them, or is it someone doing a very believable impression? It could go either way, really. But I love it.
Yeah, that was fucking awesome.
Godspeed just dropped.
I still can't believe Ephraim didn't appreciate that. What a dickhead.
What a piece of shit. All right, I'm next. Baby Tyler.
I appreciate you, Josiah. Just,
you do.
Even if Ephraim doesn't.
Thank you. I mean, yeah. You're screenshotting compliments from the Discord. I'm screenshotting from telling people that my creations are pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Baby Tyler, Anarchy in the UK. I mean, I'm so excited. Whoa. Baby Tyler finally referencing the Rugrats theme indirectly, I think. That's amazing.
Been waiting for it.
I love that no one is going kind of the obvious route so far. Everyone's like something about this song.
The obvious route?
Just like doing a straight up punk version, I guess. Like none of these have been even remotely punk. Everyone's kind of, they're taking on the challenge of deconstruct. I want to deconstruct. I don't know what I'm saying anymore.
They are destroying the passerby.
Exactly. All the passersby. That was sick. The Lucky Once, Anarchy in the UK. This is Georgia, Ern Estham, and Shoes Robinson. We're starting 1 minute in. The Lucky Once. Shoes Robinson is on every fucking one of these. It's crazy.
It's just Christ, yeah.
Is this the IMF, or is this the CIA, or is this MI5's contested event? The legacy of industrialization, privatization, union destabilization, and North divide. The ghost of Thatcherism versus Ronald Reaganomics. And neoliberalism's wins, where liars defeat the collective imagination of future generations.
There's whistling in here?
Is this
delightful.
Is this what you envisioned all along? Takiala.
Oh, wow. That had it all.
That one was like brimming with joy, I would say. It was so cheerful. That was
Drew style, filled it to the brim.
It's true. Filled bowl, absolutely.
Yeah.
That was beautiful. Oh my God.
That was a brimmed bowl of a track for sure.
I love having Georgia, Ern Estham, and Shoes Robinson on like every song every week. It's so sick.
It's totally great.
Okay, Bog Lanes, Anarchy in the Midwest, featuring someone named Shoes Robinson. Let's go.
Who's that?
We were just talking about him a second ago, Sam. Really?
Who's Shoes?
This is reminding me. That is so beautiful. It's first of all amazing.
Be like, oh God,
because that's the thing.
That's so great.
We touched on it earlier, but I do feel like because of our age or because of our desire to like pose ourselves into seeming like we knew what we were talking about or whatever it was, you and I did figure out the Sex Pistols. But most people who are like into things that include pop punk or whatever came after, like emo and stuff, metalcore, all the people who are into that kind of stuff, it's very rare that you find someone who listens to Nevermind the Bollocks, right? Like they've never even heard of it. So I bet you that's the first kind of twinkle version of Anarchy in the UK to ever exist.
You're right. That is going to be the first of several pioneering Anarchy in the UK interpretations that we hear tonight.
Yeah, exactly. But
I think you're right. Probably no one's tried that.
But the other thing I was going to say is it is reminding me of free punk lyrics where like the lyrics for some reason are so stupid that it can just be anything. The song can just be anything.
Totally, yeah.
All right.
Sex Pistols is really the original free punk lyrics.
It's true. That's definitely true. Silver bullets usually leave the WE to be left, but since you asked, so I screwed up. I thought be left and the silver bullets were the same thing. I screwed up big time, and now I think we're going to be punished for that because this is the Silver Bullets Global Health Education Program asking for parents CC, changing the world with injectables, making doing good doable equals blink. Life moves pretty fast sometimes. This is called neoliberal manarchy in the CK.
The pleasure's mine. Thanks for the invitation.
Here, so you're having a really big week right now, right?
It is a very fun week indeed. Actually, just yesterday we hosted We Day UN. So in partnership with groups like UN Women and UN AIDS, etc., we had over 200,000 students across the tri-state region study for the past.
He talks like Zuckerberg, eh?
But with like a
and then we were
over enunciated
with a Canadian accent that sounds like
to celebrate
one of the other guys on Tom Green, like Phil or whatever.
It was a heck of a lot of fun.
So you have all these kids. Let's go back a little bit.
Yeah, he's like if Glenn was
been doing this for about 20
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, indeed, 23 years.
Wow. So what made you start with kids?
Because I was a kid. Yes, absolutely. So when I was 12 years old,
somebody messaged the Pod Bandcamp today. They must have been a Propaganda fan who'd never heard it before. Or they messaged the Instagram story and they're like, where do I hear this whole song that's about the WE scandal? So I sent it to the Bandcamp. It's where you can learn everything about everything, including the WE scandal.
Maybe Propaganda fans were the audience that the Wii scandal tracks were looking for all along.
Oh, I'm so.
Like they require they require footnotes.
Yeah, it's true.
A deep understanding of sort of like Canadian nonprofit sector and like related political scandals.
I think it was all our fault somehow, but I don't want to admit that on mic because it seems like a pretty serious thing. Whatever it is,
I think it would be a crime for sure.
This is exciting. This next one is a reference to another bonus episode we did recently. We talked about my favorite Epitaph band, Skip the Foreplay, but this is called Skip the Sex. I want to be anarchy in the city. Whoever did this said, let's fucking go. My wife said she hated my cover, so I think that means I captured the right sound. Start at the beginning of the song, but if you want to skip to your favorite part after a bit, go over to the 2-minute mark. We can't do it. We got to save that for Monday, but we'll start at the beginning. This is Skip the Sex. I want to be...
What was their song called, by the way? Because it was in the city. It was
taking over, or isn't it like in the city?
This city we're taking over.
Yeah,
this city we are taking over. That's the Skip the Foreplay song.
Oh yeah, we're taking up Pop Streets off of this one. The Blue Yeti, Joe. Fucking cool.
Yes. This is already so much tighter than Skip the Foreplay. This sounds like Youth Code now to me.
Yeah, this is sick.
It's so tight.
Oh my god. I'm also just imagining this person playing it for their wife, just like, okay, I did this. What do you think? And then she's like, I fucking hate it. That's like, yes,
exactly. No, exactly. And so we were referencing my for our friend Hal Dottie's podcast. I did a parody of Uptown Funk that was about the new Godspeed You Black Emperor album coming out. It's easily like the most awful thing I've ever been involved with. And my wife cannot listen to it. And like, I feel like I played her a second of it, or even her hearing me do the vocals in the room. I was like, fuck, she's never going to be able to look at me again. It's like, but that's the thing. You have to sacrifice wife time for online time sometimes or something, it's
few people are willing to admit this, but it's true.
It's a pendulum.
Skip the Sex is like such a funny name.
It's so good. I have a feeling I know who that was based on the voice of the star, but I don't want to say just in case I'm wrong. But
okay, that was quality shit.
Okay, Tightrope Tiger, Anarchy in AU. Let's go. Ooh. Some nice shimmering guitars. amps were just fucking dripping, baby. Oh, that was beautiful.
Now I'm dripping.
Me too. With sweat because it's summertime still, but also that's
It's
a nice
still,
cover.
yeah, it's still pretty hot over there.
Yeah, today was a pretty hot one, to be honest with you. But you know what? We're beyond talking about the weather because we were best friends who talk about Sex Pistols and cum.
That's true. We've moved past small talk into Sex Pistol talk. One of the highest tiers of friendship.
Crucifixion Notice in all caps. That's a pretty badass name. Whoa, look at this art. Oh my god. This is, all right.
Oh wow. Is that the Green Day horse? Dude,
Yeah.
Green Day unicorn?
And there's a Blue Yeti.
Yes.
Johnny Cash. All right. The Crucifixion Notice. Let's fucking go.
Holy fuck.
That
name that is as good and the art is as good as the song. And between the two of those things, that was a high bar.
I feel like that sounded like something I don't know anything about, like maybe like an industrial band or something. I don't know anything about industrial music, but was that industrial music?
Yeah, is that what Typo Negative sounds like? I don't know.
It definitely didn't have the skirb blurb break or whatever Jordan Lane was talking about earlier, but we're getting into some subgenre territory that I don't know anything about, but it sounded sick as hell. Just the vocal delivery was so eerie. It's so deep.
Yeah. No, it felt again as unsettling as all the context clues.
Exactly. Yeah, it had big time scary smoke pit energy, which I liked a lot. There's a lot of sig in the air in this episode. Okay, exclusive rare Graber, extreme centrism in the UK. Ooh.
The kind of politics we have where the left is represented by this kind of Obama-inspired centrism, that you both feel about the central democracy at the same time. It's kind of hard, right? The only possible appeal of that kind of politics is the at least in America. So what they want is the left to be this kind of mishmash of your kind of market centrism and the right to be outright fascist. To set the ball rolling, actually left direction, you make that centrism look like clearly appeal. In fact, sometimes they talk about the extreme center, and I think that's a fitting phrase. It strikes me that what's called the moderates are the most immoderate people possible. And the reason why they're so uncomfortable is because they realize that
Some big art school energy this week that I'm loving so much.
It feels very appropriate.
Yeah,
that was awesome. I feel like I just graduated from OCAD.
Me too. Except not the Ontario one.
Yeah, what would you graduate from?
I mean, I feel like just living in Montreal, you probably get an arts degree eventually. That's what I'm counting on.
Is it like? But do you go to the NASDAQ or something? There is definitely some Montreal ass.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. I'm in my late 30s now. Good Lord. That's the first time I've said that out loud. I'm in my late 30s, and this is what I'm doing with my life?
You're not in your late 30s. We're in our mid 30s, man. Late 30s is like 38 on.
This is the clusterfuck theory with Dead Rottens. I think this is probably a Modern Life is War reference. Dead Ramones. It's all dotted between each letter. You know what I'm talking about? It's literally not playing though. Let me reload. Maybe it'll work now. No. What the fuck?
Is it because it's an AIF file? Does it not play AIF files?
Oh, maybe. All right. Sorry. Tough luck.
All right. Well, we'll put that on one of the B-sides comps. But yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they've got to be WAV files.
Yeah, it's not playing in the player. Sorry. DRMC Anarchy on the POD. It's redemption time, boys. DRMC. I don't think DRMC's been back for a bit. I think it's going to be some full skate punk energy. Let's go.
I don't think the Ranger's gonna like this, Yogi. This guy's more punk than me.
Antichrist, and I am an anarchist. Don't know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to destroy passerbys, cause I wanna
Oh my god, this is so good.
Oh my god, I think there's some big switches coming.
So, do you think it's all going to be like songs that we've done on the pod so far?
Is that what it was? I was like, I was kind of recognizing
no
this.
effects, and it was a game, and then
oh yeah. Fuck, maybe
and then,
that'd be cool.
Like, I think like that sort of between part was like that was like the propaganda sort of bridge. So I feel like those were all songs we've done on the pod so far. Hence, I guess Anarchy on the POD. So if I had to guess, that is a 3.5 minute medley.
A pod medley. A podly.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking incredible. So,
and why is Yogi and Boo Boo involved at the start talking about punk? Is that from is that a Yogi Bear? Do they ever talk about punk, or is that us? I mean, I hope I feel like whenever people parody the pod, I have the higher voice, but I would really hope that I'm the Yogi.
I think yeah, I agree that I'm the Yogi for sure.
I think that you're definitely the tiny little Boo Boo Bear.
Boo Boo Bear, it's true. I'm like if like Boo Boo had like the cool deep voice.
I'll see you later.
Dropped for Boo Boo.
Anarchy in the UK. I have an EP of Taylor Swift covers coming out on Friday. You should check it out. I'll see you later.bandcamp.com. Yes, I'm using this message for self. God damn, people keep making me read ads for them, but that's okay. I mean, to be fair, Althea is paying to contribute music and also paying for the comp, so
sort of seems fine.
We'll check out althealater.bandcamp.com on Friday. Let's go. This is so cool.
This is fucking awesome.
It's so scary sounding. For real, whenever like people talk about like I don't even know, like maybe Burzum or something. Like I've never really listened to Burzum, but I feel like whenever I've heard Burzum, it sounds like that. It doesn't sound like metal to me. It sounds like that, more like
probably
that.
Heard like the like spooky prison dungeon synth records because there's definitely like an era of Burzum where it's all like check out this sinister evil music and it's like spooking you out. It's that's definitely better than Burzum. I just want to make that point.
No, I'm saying I'd rather
way less fascist.
I'm trying to say that this was to me what I think I think that was probably some form of black metal that we just listened to. That's all I'm trying to say.
Definitely black metal adjacent.
Wood Chips up next. Anarchy in the UK. Wood Chips writes, "I do not like the Sex Pistols." Well, then we're not going to play your fucking cover, okay?
That's the rule. You have to like the band to cover them.
No, we will. As long as it's a wave, we will. So let's go. I think you do like the Sex Pistols because this sounds great. Oh my God. This sounds like pre-major label The Rapture, the glory days of The Rapture. sounds like from right before anyone knew who James Murphy was. That special moment in time.
Oh my God.
I think you do like the Sex Pistols because you've done something beautiful with their work. So whether you admit it or not, you're a big fan.
Yeah, that obviously came from a place of affection for sure.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. Oh my God. That was amazing. Oh.
Wood Chips loves the Sex Pistols.
Wood Chips, everyone.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, carve it into a tree somewhere because it's true.
That's some tree-ready truth right there.
Diana Spouse, Anarchy in the UK. I actually uploaded this one because Diana Spouse emailed it because they're on vacation right now. I'm visiting my grandparents in Tiverton, Nova Scotia this weekend. That place.
Fake.
Yeah, definitely not real. And they don't even have internet in their home. Probably also a lie. It's a tiny fishing village of about 200 people. Yeah, okay. I don't know why we're being so mean. It's actually really cool. So Diana Spouse is in a tiny fishing village of about 200 people. I wasn't expecting to submit anything this week, but I found my childhood acoustic guitar here and was able to upload the file on my phone data. Ended up making something that sounds like a cross between Dr. Bugman 31 and Sufjan Stevens. Hope you like it. I love the idea that you can reference Dr. Bugman 31 and we know what you mean now. That's so cool.
Totally. Dr. Bugman 31 and Sufjan are like both
sort of
carry equal weight in this context.
Yeah, in sort of new Americana, in the canon of Americana.
Yeah, totally.
Right, let's go. This one's going in a movie soundtrack. It has to. What the fuck?
We've been talking a lot of the importance of context and like whether you really like listen to context when you are emotionally connected to music, but the introduction to this being visiting your grandparents in Tiverton, Nova Scotia, and they don't have internet. And Tiverton, which is a place that I've never heard of, is a fishing village of 200 people, and your childhood acoustic guitar is there. And so you create this gorgeous piece of fucking art.
It's so beautiful. I was expecting, when I think of childhood acoustic guitar, I think of Doesn't Stay in Tune, kind of a piece of shit.
Yeah.
But then I don't understand, what did you record with? Because it was so lush sounding.
I know.
That was insane. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, that was incredible.
Also, shout out to your grandparents. Shout out to all the people if you could get every single person in Tiverton to sign up for the Patreon to hear your cover, that'd be pretty cool. Also, that would help.
While you're there, if you don't mind, proselytizing.
Nick Ibis, Anarchy for the UK, but punks, but U and K are capitalized. That's pretty clever, I think.
Okay, yeah, that's good.
This was meant to be a super glossy Freshman 15 style pop punk cover, but I can't sing like that anymore, so it came out more rough. And also another ad in here. Just everyone's putting their ads in these fucking things, but Nick has some Blink shirts at his Threadless site. Nick, you can post that in the Discord. I mean, just start advertising to each other if you want, everyone.
This is so good, though. I mean, really, in many ways, people are paying for this advertising space. So
that's true.
I don't begrudge them.
NickIbis.threadless.com.
The Sex Pistols? I can fucking dick on the fucking Sex Pistols.
And I am an anarchist. I know what I want, but I know how to get it. I want to destroy passers-by because I want to be anarchy. Anarchy for the UK. It's coming sometime, and maybe I give it wrong time. So much traffic light in future dreams to shove
Freshman 15 a band, or is it a subgenre of pop punk that I don't know about? Because I
think Freshman 15 is like a pop punk band that kind of sounds like that.
Because I just Googled it and I found out that it's about some sort of weight thing.
It's where you.
But okay, so
it's a quarantine 15, you know.
I love that, and I love when people program ridiculous pop punk drums and then they sound so cartoony in the computer.
Totally,
so good. That was sick. Nick.
Freshman 15 is definitely like a pop punk band that looks like the kind of band that would sound like those drums.
Okay, I get it. Cool. And are they from Australia or?
They are. They all look like the singer of Yellow Card, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And
so that's Australia. That tracks as Australia to me.
Hold on, I don't think they have a. They are from. Get ready for it. I don't fucking know, man. It's just like not. It's not front and center on any of their.
They used to be called Examine. XZAMEN. They're from Georgia. They're from Gainesville.
Oh, Atlanta.
Gainesville, Georgia, though, not Gainesville, Florida.
Damn.
Is that even a place? Did they fuck up their own origin?
I think these people don't know where they're from.
Deplode A up next is the Plodes with, I think, a reference to good old Joey Shithead himself. I bet Sam has Joey Shithead's number in his phone. Am I right?
No, but I do have Joey Shithead's email.
Yeah, well, that's pretty easy to get.
That's a good impression.
NBC.
NBC.
It's there.
Is this DOA or is this DBS or is this Squamish 5? I thought it was GOB cause
That's honestly a really, really great impression.
Like even the guitars were like no one should be able to do a DOA impression that good.
I know. That actually might be Joey Shithead.
Maybe the Plodes, the fake Plodes recruited Joey Shithead to sing.
That's the only possible explanation.
GOB. See, we were talking about how much swagger and coolness this song has, and no disrespect to Joey Shithead. I'm sure Mr. Shithead is a great politician, but quite a dorky sounding guy on the mic. Hey,
yeah. not exactly as swaggery. Randy Rampage had all the swagger.
All right, up next is this artist is called I Am the Antichrist. With Right Now, and the caption says "Devil Music." Let's go. That was so good.
That was terrifying. I'll never sleep again.
That was really cool. That was sick. Okay, Flexed Crystals with Anarchy at the Quarry. Guess who they've written? I think it's probably Roxhow with the final cover of the week.
Guess who? Probably, yeah.
It's minute 55. Let's go. Oh yeah, that's that rock bucket for sure. It sounds really good though.
Wow, that's some great rocks.
This is just percussion. The drums from Roxhow. I kind of hope so, honestly.
I really hope so. I also hope it's not like cut and pasted and looped. Like I hope this was just performed straight for. This is a minute 55, so
yeah, that's as it should be. They all should be, honestly.
But it's got to be a wave, and it has to be 1 minute 55 seconds.
This rules. And that's Anarchy in the UK.